Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. We're going to look at one of the old kits today, the Vindicator Siege tank. Now this is a fantastic looking kit and it's got some good stats to go with it for 10th edition. It's a very tough vehicle, it's got a tougher profile than the Gladiator variants. It might be slightly slower but it does have a good save stat. It's got a high volume of shots that are hard hitting. It doesn't care if it's in combat with its new ability. And it is just a fantastic looking model overall. So we'll take a look at the datasheet. Like I said before, it's a very tough profile on this datasheet. It's got toughness 11, which is one higher than the Gladiators, so it's almost maximum toughness. It's got 11 wounds, and it's a 2+ save. So a lot of the small arms fire that come into this guy, he's just going to shrug off like it doesn't exist at all. It is slightly slower, it moves at 9 inches, but it does have a 6+ leadership like the majority of units in the Space Marine Codex, and it's got objective control 3, so it's not too bad at sitting on an objective either. Its shooting profile is quite nice. Its main weapon is the Demolisher Cannon. This is the blast keyword, so that's +1 attack for every 5 models in a unit. It comes with a standard D6 +3 attacks, and that's hitting on a ballistic skill of 3. It's strength 14, so it's going to be wounding most elite units in the game on 2s. Only the very toughest units in the game are going to be pushing it on to 3s and 4s. It has -3 AP, so it's going to cut through a lot of these tough units, pushing them onto the invulnerable save. And it's D6 damage. With that profile, there's going to be a lot of models in this game that really doesn't want to be targeted by this guy because he's going to hit them hard. It also has a one-shot hunter-killer missile. This 48-inch range, 2+ ballistic skill, so more likely to hit, 14 strength, -3 AP, and D6 damage again. So it does have the ability in one turn to put in a lot of damage into these tough units and potentially wipe them out. As well as that, you can equip it with a Storm Bolter. This is rapid fire 2, so you get the standard 2 to 4 shots at ballistic skill 3, strength 4, no AP, damage 1. So like all vehicles, he comes with the Deadly Demise keyword. So when destroyed on a roll of a 6, this model will explode and it will do D3 damage to all units within 6 inches of this model. So his main ability is the Siege Shield. What this does is that when you are within engagement range of an enemy unit, and as long as there's no friendly units within engagement range of that unit, you can still fire into combat with your blast weapon. As well as this, you will not suffer any penalties to hit, so there will be no -1 to hit these units in combat, which is very nice when your main weapon has that blast keyword. So unless you've managed to charge someone else into this target, the Demolisher Cannon is going to blast away at anything within combat. There are a couple of buffs you can give to the Vindicator to make it just either a little bit more tanky or hit a little bit harder. So first of all, you've got the Tech Marine. Straight away, this guy can give him +1 to his hit roll, so he's hitting on 2s, which is very nice with this high volume, high strength, high damage weapon. He can also heal this model each command phase, allowing it to stay around just a little bit longer. You can also have a captain around him who has a free strat usage every turn for strategic battle strats. This just gives you the ability just to have a little bit more buffs on him consistently for a little bit cheaper, but it isn't really essential. So all the different detachments come with Armor of Contempt, so this is a good one to use on this guy if you're going to lean heavily into him. Having a -1 AP for incoming anti-tank fire is really going to help this guy when he's toughness 11 and has that 2-up save. It's going to make him stay around just that little bit longer. And while we're at it, if you look at the Gladys detachment, the Doctrines are quite useful for him because he can advance and fall back and still shoot. There's also the stratagem that can be used on the Gladius detachment called Storm of Fire. This gives him the ability to ignore cover when he's firing into units. So when you've got any Space Marines trying to hide in cover, try to tank some couple of shots from him. Instead of them rolling into 5s, they're going to be on 6s instead. So you're pretty much going to be nailing these with every single wound. When we head over to the Anvil detachment, The key detachment ability, it gives you the heavy keyword. So when you're stationary, you already get that +1 to your ballistic skill, so you're hitting on 2s. And as well as that, you get +1 to wound. So on some of the tougher targets, such as the Titans, instead of wounding these guys on 3s, you're going to be wounding them on 2s, which is very nice. There's the no threat to good stratagem, which allows you when targeting a vehicle or monster, you can re-roll the wound roll. There's also the battle drill recall, which this allows you to have the sustained 1 ability, and if you remain stationary this turn, which you're likely going to be doing, so you gain the +1 to your ballistic skill and +1 to wound, you then can have critical hits on a roll of a 5+, so you can really be punching through a lot of these sustained hits. And if you're targeting a big guy and you're coming in with your high velocity of firepower and you've got sustained hits, you might be getting an additional 2 or 3 hits and you're going to be wounding on likely 2s. This is very nice for when you're trying to punch through some of these tough targets with this -3 AP. You're just going to demolish people at short to medium range. And we have the Iron Storm detachment. The standard one for this is a reroll to a hit, wound or damage roll for each unit. You've got the upgrade for one of your characters for the target augury, which gives you lethal hits when within the aura of this character. There's the stratagem for Mercy's weakness that gives you sustained 1 on crits of 5. This is when you're against a half strength unit, but the crits are only available when you're targeting a vehicle unit. So it does have a slight downside to this. You really have to be targeting an already damaged foe, that's a vehicle, to get the best out of this. And then we have the power of the machine spirit. This allows you to shoot back if you've been shot by a unit, and it's reduced you to half strength. So as you can appreciate, if you've got this guy going into an Oaths a Moment target that's say toughness 12 and 20+ wounds, and you've got a tech marine near him, or you're using the detachment that allows you to remain stationary and get your 2+ to your ballistic skill, you're going to be putting a lot of shots into this guy. And then there's ways to do sustained hits on crits of 5, so you're going to be pushing a lot of wounds onto him when you're wounding on 2s and 3s, depending on which detachment you're taking. The strats that you can use to increase your damage output and your consistency. If you're taking the anvil detachment, then you've got the ability to have re-roll potentially on the damage, pushing that up even further. This guy in the medium range is going to be devastating to a lot of units in the game, especially units that are slightly more elite and think they can take a shot, not realizing that this guy's coming with 14 strength, -3 AP, and D6 damage. It's a very nice profile for a tank to have that's relatively on the small side, because it is just a Rhino chassis, so it's easier to hide. And it has a high damage output, toughness 11 and 2+ save. This guy should stay around for a fair bit in the game to help you do damage. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any comments, then pop them below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button, as it greatly helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button to see any future Warhammer content. Take it easy, and see you next time for more grim darkness from the 41st millennium.